All right. We're in the top 5 already, guys. Burning through it. Top 5, Scout the Statline second basemans. Next one's going to be a fun one as well. I think this is going to be somebody that we all say he's go get him. And that is going to be Carlos Jorge. Carlos Jorge is with the High A affiliate with the Cincinnati Reds. They're still doing it. The Reds have a good something going. I don't know what it is about the Reds right now, but they're on fire. Their major league club is looking promising. Ross is probably going to tell me that they're going to blow it. But he's 5'10", 160 pounds. He's age 20. He won't be 21 until the later parts of next year, but he is already at the High A affiliate for the Reds. In 2023, he's had 386 at bats. He has batted .282 with an on-base of .374, slugged .464 with an on-base plus slugging of .838. He has 32 stolen bases, only caught 9 times, 12 home runs to add on top of that. He struck out 100 times, walked 52, 14 doubles, 10 triples, which you start hitting double-digit triples, and you kind of got to keep an eye on it and say, what the heck's going on here? Is he a speed guy, or is he just hitting it into the gap in the perfect spot and then being able to get around the bases? I like triples. I think they turn into home runs really easily. But guys, go at it. Carlos Jorge for the Reds.
It's an interesting one because I actually think that triples are less likely than doubles to turn into home runs.
Are they just gappers?
I agree.
I think it's more of an indication of speed, which is interesting I mean, there's hitting that's involved too. You're not going to be dinking that thing off and getting a triple most times, right? And I think there's like a interesting comp. This is not an STS comp, but as you're quoting those stats, the name that comes to mind to me is like Curtis Granderson. Sure. He was the kind of guy that did that. He hit for pretty decent power. He was pretty decent on the base paths and triples, man. He was getting triples because he has that nice combination of things. And I don't know exactly what Carlos Jorge does like extremely well. By all reports I've read and heard from people that are very smart, he's not exactly a burner. And he doesn't hit the ball with
authority.
He doesn't have like high exit velocity numbers and stuff like that. So it's not like he's a masher either, but the combination of those skills seems to work really well. And he's got 32 stolen bases. So maybe not a burner, but like he's fast enough. He clearly is, or he's got great instincts. And seeing him, he looks athletic. He looks like he's a very athletic guy to me. Like he just has it. And maybe that's kind of like the Curtis Granderson style of build, just athletic. He's just an athlete, can kind of do it all.
Sure.
And maybe it's the totality of parts in this case that makes him the player that he is, and it doesn't need to be exceptional in any one area. But I'm really interested. I'm intrigued. The one red flag is that he did struggle quite a bit when he moved up to High A compared to how he was performing. So that's something you want to watch. It doesn't mean it's a huge concern, but it means like he was getting challenged a little bit more and he wasn't quite playing up to that level anymore. But we are also talking about a guy with nearly 800 plate appearances and great numbers across the board. I think you have to open your eyes on Carlos Jorge, stop being a hater, and start accepting there's something here that works. I mean, and I say that very pointedly because there are some people that they've pointed out these things, not high exit velocities. He's not a burner on the base paths. He's not this, he's not that. And it's like, okay, but something is working here. It's not a small sample anymore. And he's done it consistently throughout his career. So open your eyes, accept that there's something here that's working, and make sure you watch it closely going into next year. He's not going to be easy to obtain. So I don't know that he's a full-fledged go get him at this point, but like, yeah, I'd be trying to acquire him, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I don't have much to add. He's getting. I mean, he's already 20. I'll be interested. I'm going to pay close attention to him beginning of next year, just to see how he does in high A. Because if he might just be, well, we're not. We won't admit it. He's a young guy. Jesus, who knows?
He's already 20. He's old.
Yep.
Right. I can't believe.
Yeah. Sell high. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Two more things to point out here that I think are really interesting. He has some of the best projections for power speed combo on STS, projecting for 20 home runs and 25 stolen bases. That's really good. Really good. You can get a 2020 Jose Ramirez type of talent here, according to those numbers anyway. And he draws a comp to Ryan Sandberg, which is awesome. Yeah, you'd want that guy, no doubt. So Carlos Jorge, I like him.
Yeah, just to kind of trampoline off Ryan again, we have a player that is going to be 20 years old all of next year, and he's going to be playing at high A. There's a really good chance that we're going to have a 20-year-old in double A at this player. There's a really good chance that he's going to – I say that a really good chance and not say that it's an absolute bank, because the Reds do have some players. The Reds have some players in their farm system that could be not quite necessarily blocking him, but maybe the Reds want to see somebody above him. I like what the Reds have done as an organization in the past, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years. They've done some really good things. So Carlos, I would be watching this really closely in the early seasons, because this could be a really quick call up to double A.
Well, and I think this is a really interesting case to watch and compared to How You Lee this year, because How You Lee didn't make that jump to the double A level, right?
Sure.
And so, and with Carlos Jorge's small taste at high A, you have to wonder if, he's going to have some, an adaptation period there or not. If he doesn't, then, you want to be on him. Yeah. You want to be on him. If he does, then we might be looking at a How You Lead type of trajectory going into 2025.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
These kids got to learn, right? At double A, at 20 years old, you're playing against major leaguers that are coming off of injuries. And that's why I love double A stats so much, is you're playing against guys that are just starting to warm up to go back up to the pros.
Yep. Worth mentioning, his ETA is 2026 on STS.
I'll put a year. I'll put it a year above 2025 or 4. Yeah, 5.
Okay, so that would put him at 21.
21 years old in the pros.
That's pretty good.
For me, he's a go get him. I like Carlos Jorge a lot.
I think I probably could endorse a go get him too, because I don't think he's overrated by anyone. In places, he's probably not even a top 100 prospect, some places. So it just depends on the owner in this situation, in my opinion.
Yep. There it is. Carlos Jorge. We're going to dive into the next guy. Top 4. Great mustache. Great mustache on this guy. And we got Davis Schneider. Davis Schneider is a 24-year-old with the Toronto Blue Jays. He's the second baseman, 5'9", 190 pounds. He is a little bit older. He has made his debut. He was drafted in 2017 by the Blue Jays in round 28, pick 849 out of high school, Eastern Voorhees, New Jersey. I wonder if that's where the Friday the 13th came from. You're over in that area, Voorhees?
I have no idea. New Jersey's a far way away.
I'm just gonna turn this one over to Ryan completely, because he's the Davis Schneider stan in this group, and I want to hear what he has to say.
I mean, he's like Sajisi. He's just a ball player, man.
God.
I did find it interesting. I forgot when I originally was writing him up for one of my articles that he did spend 3 years in the rookie league, just plowing away, and he was always overlooked because he was a 28th round pick, and even the Blue Jays front office admittedly said that we never gave him a chance because he was such a low round pick. But eventually, you have to start looking at production, and they finally did this year, and it paid off for him. I think he had one of the best first 100 plate appearances or something for a rookie ever.
Yeah,
he's just I don't know long term if he'll be a top 150 player. He might be hovering around there. I don't know if he'll ever get a true starting role. He might just be a utility man, which is, I mean, in today's MLB, that's always useful because they usually play still every day, just different position, which is better for fantasy, quite honestly. But yeah, I don't know. He did struggle a little bit down the stretch, striking out, but I think when all is said and done, he's still a good ball player, and I think he can crack 20 home runs with 10 stolen bases or something while having a respectable average in OBP. He's always had a good eye, even when he wasn't hitting as much. So that's something that can kind of buoy him to relativity in fantasy.
Yeah.
I love it, Ryan. This was your guy. You touted him early, and you pushed him. How did you come across Davis Schneider?
Oh, so he was my weekly article series that I do for you. He popped up a couple times, and I was like, well, I'll take a look at him because I never heard of this guy. And usually you see a 24-year-old in Double-A, and you're like, I mean, okay, that is cool, but that's par for the course for 24-year-olds. They should be handling Double-A quite well. But then he got promoted to Triple-A, and you pay a little bit more attention. And so I decided to write him up because it's like, man, he's hammering the crap out of the ball, and the Blue Jays just aren't calling him up, and they're still running out Santiago Espinal. And it's like, man, right. I was like, there's got to be a spot for him. So I think it was late May or something. I said to go out and get him just because eventually a major league team has to see this and be like, all right, well, let's give him a chance. And they eventually did. And there he went.
Stroke of genius. And in fact, I think it helps highlight the strengths of using the STS system.
Well,
but also like the stroke of genius, you get this guy, and if you were reading Ryan's article, please go read Ryan's articles. You probably boost your chances of winning your league significantly. This guy's a league winner. This is the type of that's a league winner, right?
Down the stretch, he's for sure.
Yeah, pretty incredible stuff. Pretty incredible. Yeah. And what I see in his profile, just to add to what you've already said, is it looks like a profile that can stick.
Right.
He's a major league hitter to me, with pretty good power and probably some sneaky speed in there. Mm-hmm. But it looks like something that can stick to me. I totally believe that. Is he going to be a superstar? I don't know that I think that, but could he have won you your league this year? Absolutely. So,
right.
Yeah, good stuff. Really good stuff.
This one, I'm going to be the Debbie Downer on this one. This one screams to me a super utility player that's going to play first, second, third. I don't think he'll have some outfield spots, but first, second, third, filling in for Biggio and Santiago Espinal, I think is how you say his name. And then when Vlad's kind of being Vlad, the one big thing, and this is
Vlad being Vlad. I like that one.
Yeah. The other side of this is I have a prospect that I've owned forever that I think is better than Schneider, and that's Otto Lopez. I think he's gonna be a block for Schneider. That's just my opinion.
Is Otto Lopez eligible?
He got hurt. He was hurt all year.
Well, was he eligible? He was definitely eligible for ranking. I don't see him in the top 10 though, Brent.
No, he's got to be in like the top 100 of second baseman because he was hurt and he struggled. Just letting you know, my guys.
All the names you could have pulled as a blocker, you pulled Otto Lopez out there.
I'm just letting you guys know what I feel. I like David Schneider, and I think he's actually going to be a semi everyday player. It's just never going to be at the same position. I see him bouncing all over the place, which is going to be awesome.
Right, that's awesome for fantasy.
Yeah, of course, because he's going to have the tags first, second, third, short. You know, probably not short, but because of Bichette. But yeah, first, second, third. It's going to be great and huge value there.
Yeah, I would stand by what I said. I don't know that I feel like he's going to be a star player, but like he is a league winner this year.
Yeah, well, and he's someone you need on. His profile is what you need to be on to field a competitive team where you can stick him in your corner infield or middle infield spot and just set and forget it.
Yep, and then when he lights it up and he does finally get a position that is all time, like Ryan just gave you a winner. I was just giving you guys my opinion. You wouldn't let me finish, but fine, whatever. What do I know? I'm just the host.
The big takeaway is read Ryan's articles. All right, that's what it comes down to.
I'm here to play the devil's advocate too. Okay, fellas.
Yeah.
You may very well be right in the end. Minus the Otto Lopez part.
It's a solid profile. It's a solid profile, and obviously the Blue Jays love it right now. You know, so they're going to give him every ample opportunity to prove what he did last year wasn't false.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Ryan, you need to fix that stupid park.
And they do have that weird corridor in left field.
They're sapping Vladdy's power for whatever reason, man. I just don't understand.
It's like an extra 20 feet in that weird corridor with the overhanging.
Yeah.
It's very odd. It's cool looking. I've never been there. I can't say that, but I would imagine in person that place has got to look terribly weird.
Time to trade him, I guess. Trade. Let's go.
Just get him off. Get Vlad the Baconator off of the bacon, and it'll be just fine.
No, he's vegan.
It's an inside joke. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Inside jokes don't work.
That doesn't work on here.
Come on, get it together.
Okay.
All right, let's get into the top three, man. We got
top
three more to go.
Yep,
3 more to go. ScoutTheStatline.com. Top 3 second baseman. I apologize. Another one of my favorites. And I talked about him a little bit earlier with the Detroit Tigers. This is Howie Yuli's blocker, and it's going to be Jace Young. Jace Young is, of course, the younger brother of
Josh.
I apologize. Josh Young. Second baseman for the Detroit Tigers. He's 23 years old. He's 6 foot tall, 205 pounds, born 10/4 2000 in San Antonio, Texas. Drafted in round 1, pick 12 overall out of Texas Tech. And he did have a little bit of a struggle this year at the beginning of the year, but man, did he turn it on.
He had a back problem.
Yeah, he was struggling with an injury issue early on in the season, and it was low at one point. It was like a 220 average.
Yeah.
It was brutal, and he pumped it all the way up to 284 by the end of the year. He had 486 at bats. 265 average overall between high A and double A, on base percentage of 376, slugged 502, and hit a pretty good mark of 878. That double A number was actually at 936. He had 14 home runs in high A. He also had 14 home runs in double A for 28 overall. 5 stolen bases at high A, didn't have any stolen bases, but that's probably in double A, but that's probably to keep him healthy. That was probably just chill out. It's fine. You don't need to run the base pass. 27 doubles and 2 triples. 139 strikeouts, 79 walks. He's showing good plate discipline. If he's anything like his brother, and I thought his brother was going to be, and he probably could have been the rookie of the year, but he ended up getting hurt towards the end of the year. Also won a World Series. Like, if he's anything like his brother, which I think he's just as good, he's going to be awesome.
It's interesting because I actually thought Jace Young was going to be the better of the two.
Yeah.
Coming out of college.
Still
now I'm seeing that they're very similar. I think they're very similar, which I didn't expect. I thought we were going to see something a little different from Jace Young. He does have a little bit better plate discipline, I think, but they're both sort of streaky power hitters. That's what I'm seeing in the numbers, and that's what I've seen from Josh Young. And you're right, health plays a role for sure in their production, which it does for everybody. But sometimes players can kind of get by and disguise it or whatever, and I think it's pretty obvious with these two.
Yeah, no, for sure. I saw a lot of Jace at Double A this year. I think I saw 6 or 7 games sit behind home plate, and I paid attention to his at bats a lot, obviously. And I think he can be better than his brother. He has good command of the zone. I know he ran a 26% strikeout rate, but when I was watching him, he commands the zone pretty well. And what stood out to me, it was one of the last games. It was against Paul Skeens when Skeens came to Erie, and Jace Young, I think, took him 8 or 9 pitches deep into the count and then roped a double off a 100-mile-an-hour fastball on his hands. And I mean, that stood out to me. You don't see that often. He went the other way, went with the ball, and I like the profile.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's got the better plate discipline of the brothers for sure. But what I'm surprised about is, like, it seems like they have the same kind of power approach. And I think Jace Young maybe has equivalent power or close to it.
Sure.
So that's not what I was not expecting that. I was expecting him to be a little more of a gap hitter, like higher average, better plate discipline. But I think he's better plate discipline, similar power. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to watch those two's careers. Really will be.
For sure.
I think there's going to be one hell of a rivalry between brothers here. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Jace Young, he's got a clear shot to Detroit, and I would not be shocked at all if he doesn't see any minor league at bats next year. If he starts off instantly in the MLB.
Yeah, I would be surprised, but I could see that possibility for sure.
Especially what Detroit's got going on in their middle infielders. They have a very high-priced person in there that has no business being on the field. I'll keep that to myself. Jace Young, Go get him. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm going to say I think he's appropriately ranked here. I have Sajaci higher, and I think Sajaci is typically, I think Goose is typically ranked lower by most publications. I could be wrong on that. I think he probably is. So I don't know that I want to say a full-fledged go get him. I think the price has to be right. He's a good player.
I think you brought up a good point. I have Goose just a touch higher than Jace Young. That's coming from a Tigers fan. So, if you extrapolate that a little bit, he's probably quite a bit higher than my fandom on Jace Young.
All right. Okay. So we're kind of in agreement, I guess.
All right. Next one.
You have to be there. Jace Young he came in with a lot of expectations to begin with.
Yeah.
The next one that we're going to talk about, and this is going to be a complete unknown for me.
No idea.
Cool. We're all going to be on the same page. This is going to be a complete unknown, something that we can all peel our eyes back on and hear his name maybe for the first time. And his name is going to be Jarrell Perez. Jarrell Perez is with a rookie affiliate with of course, the Dodgers. So they're going to turn him into gold. He's 19 years old. He's a second baseman, 6 foot tall, 179 pounds. He was born November 6th, 2004 in the Dominican Republic. He did get stateside. So this is another exciting one that got stateside before they were 20 years old, which it's got to be a major league push, right? Yes, of course, we're going to see the DSL numbers, but to get stateside before you're 20 is a real eye opener because it doesn't happen. It probably happens a lot more than I realize, but when your name is getting put out on the stats, it's pretty impressive. So he was with the DSL rookie affiliate for the Dodgers last year, batted .278, on-base percentage of .371, slugged .500, and on-base plus slugging of .871, 8 home runs, 5 stolen bases, and then started off at the rookie level stateside, right? Is the ACL is stateside. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so came stateside for 179 at bats for an average of 257, 389 on base, and 503 slugging with an on base plus slugging of 892, and then got a call up to single A affiliate for 21 at bats. And he only batted 238, but the biggest thing that we always try to hammer home when we're talking about these younger gentlemen that are from overseas is they're stateside. Man, that's a big deal that you're stateside. It means that the coaching staff actually wants you to be in front of them. Does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. And I want to roast you a little bit, Brian. ACL is Arizona Complex League.
I thought it was AZL was Arizona Complex League.
It used to be called AZ. That's
Okay.
how they used to call the rookie league before the Complex League started. Yeah, anyway.
That's what threw me off was not seeing that Z. I seen the C and then I got confused.
Yeah, well, I just had to roast you a little bit.
Thanks.
Jarrell Perez, we got to talk about this guy a little bit because you're right. You touched on most of it. He's young. He made it all the way to single A. He hit with a lot of power. He showed really good plate discipline for a youngster. Strikes out a little bit more than I would like, but it's within acceptable range, especially for an 18-year-old pushing up to higher levels of the low minors anyway. Most of his time was spent at the rookie level. That's worth mentioning. But with STS, he projects for substantial power, I guess. His scout grade equivalency for his power tool is 75, which is among the tops in the minor leagues. And he's projecting for 37 home runs per 600 plate appearances. And it's worth noting that he's done this with probably some bad luck at play. So again, he gets boosted a little bit from that, like very low BABIP numbers for what you expect from a guy like him. So yeah, it's a good start, and the numbers might even play up a little bit, but it's still too small of a sample for me to make much of a stance with conviction. And that's kind of where I sit on Gerald Perez. He's our number 2 here, and that makes him super interesting. But am I going to get him right now? No. I'm keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, for sure. You have to at least give him another year. Before he's seriously considered for top 500 prospects, at least.
And this is what SDS is trying to do, like tip you off
Right.
to these guys to keep an eye on sometimes. Anyway, continue, Ryan.
For sure. But no, I mean, I echo a lot of the same things you said. He shows intriguing blend of power and speed and good eye. I don't mind his strikeout rate as much as you, I don't think. Low 20s.
Strikeouts.
I know.
That's
low 20s, I'm never going to be too afraid of, especially with the walk rate. But that could just be he's more passive at the plate right now. And as he gets older and sees more pitches, he might be a tad more aggressive, and that strikeout rate might go up. Who knows? He's 18 years old. We'll check in a year or two.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the biggest telling story right there is when he got called up to single A affiliate, he had 6 strikeouts and 5 walks in 21 at bats. To me, that tells me that he wasn't intimidated. Just going out there and be like, I'm gonna try to rocket launch this thing out of here. He was like, okay, I'll let you walk me. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a telling sign. If that was 6 strikeouts and 0 walks, maybe I'd say, okay. He's smaller than the moment. To me, that 21 at bats, he's playing bigger than the moment.
Sure.
I like that. Yeah.
Tiny sample size, though. Once again, just keep an eye on it. See what happens.
Guy you might want to add to your rosters early next year.
Yeah.
Just take note right now.
So here he is, fellas. Number one, second baseman by Scout the Statline's projections. And I think we all know this one. I mean, if you've been paying attention for the past 2 years, you better know this name. Because he was even in the draft, like the draft analysts, the talking heads, they were like, Termarr Johnson is going to be big time. But here he is. Termarr Johnson with the high A affiliate with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's 5'8", 175 pounds, highly touted 19-year-old out of high school Mays, Atlanta, Georgia. Drafted 2022, round 1, picked 4 overall. I don't remember off the top of my head the 3 that went before them, and I should because it was a major talking point. Maybe you guys can clue me in on that.
Rushman was 1.
Was Rushman 1?
Yeah.
We had Rushman. Termarr that year, he was
Drew Jones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This was the next year. It wasn't with
next year. No, Rushman was 1.
We had Jackson Holiday number 1.
Yep. Drew Jones 2.
Drew Jones number 2. And then
another outfielder, another super athletic outfielder. Who?
Did we get a college player?
Super athletic outfielder. He was another second generation. And I should know this off the top of my head.
No, I feel like we got what year was this? I'm going to just mess up.
2022. as Ross was looking up that, I'm not going to speak about 2022 because he was in the low minors for 63 at bats. But this year in 2023, he hit single A and then high A. He had 349 at bats. He batted 244, on base plus slugging of 422, and a slugging percentage of 438 with an on base plus slugging of 860. He had 18 home runs, 13 came at low A, and then 10 stolen bases, 7 came at low A. Termarr Johnson's an athletic freak, and I know that for a fact. Who was the other one? I see you queuing at me.
Well, I think you were thinking of Elijah Green, but it wasn't him. It was a surprise pick of Kumar Rocker that year, because that was after he recovered from injury. The Rangers.
And he didn't sign.
Yeah. No, he did sign. He didn't sign.
did.
He didn't sign the first time he was drafted.
Yeah, by the Mets.
Okay.
And then he got hurt after signing with the Rangers.
Yeah.
So
is he still with the Mets? Did he?
No, he's with the Rangers.
He's with the Rangers.
He's with the Rangers. Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I
Termarr
still
Johnson.
think he's going to be pretty good when he's finally healthy, hopefully.
We'll see.
So Termarr Johnson, he had 120 strikeouts and 101 walks as well. Athletic freak. I'm telling you, he's an athletic freak that is turning into a baseball player.
For sure. And he, a lot of articles came out about him, how he is obsessed with his swing, and he just seems to love baseball from every article I've ever read about him, which does play a part. I mean, he came in to the draft as someone who had good hit ability, but maybe not so much power. So it's kind of been a shock to Pirates fans like myself when he came in and he started crushing a bunch of home runs this year with a low average. But I think it's really intriguing because with him being so obsessed with his swing and his approach, I think he can be a superstar. And I mean, that's what the algorithm's telling us with him being number one. His eye is next level. He's going to have strikeouts, of course. But, I mean, I think he can be not a Ozzie Albies type, but close to that. I really think so.
Yeah, super interesting one. We had a conversation, Brian, me and you, on the Bats and Stats podcast early last year with Drew Wheeler when he was on. We talked about Termarr Johnson in depth and how he was a different player than what we expected him to be.
Right.
And not as a bad thing necessarily, just different. And to me, that was really hard for me to grapple with at first, because I was like, okay, this is a hitter that doesn't hit well, but it turns out he's kind of more of an on base. I don't want to call him a power hitter, but like he's got a lot more power than I think was anticipated right out of the gate. So it's just different. Excellent approach at the plate. I think the bat is probably there, but it hasn't been showing up tremendously. And even, even if you adjust for unlucky BABIPs, it's not like out of this world looking. But better power than expected, and just a really good plate approach. Really good plate approach. Strikeouts are a little higher, but they're not out of the realm of what can be sustained. So, this is a guy that's going to be an effective player, and STS sees that. They see that even if it isn't glaringly obvious in the numbers when you're looking at a 244 batting average. If you get stuck on that, you're going to miss out on Termarr Johnson because you can't get past something that misses the complete player. So there's a little bit more to him here, but it's a different kind of player than you might expect too.
Other than the eye, which the eye is it's there. His batting approach is there and everything. But right now at high A affiliate, I think he's blowing people away with his athleticism. And that's why you're seeing the home runs there and, kind of being shocked by that just a little bit. Yeah, the average isn't there, but I think he's just an athletic freak, and he's able to get that ball, get his bat around off his shoulders to be able to connect on those home runs. Yeah, the average isn't there yet, but I think he's starting to become that player to start lifting that average up. I think it's just all athleticism, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does, but that's not what we came to expect.
Right.
Like that's not what it sounded like he was going to be like when he got drafted 4th overall by the Pirates. It sounded like he was going to be a very polished hitter, and everybody else was raw.
Yeah.
Everybody else was the raw talent, athletic guys, and we're just seeing something very different. I don't disagree with him being okay. So I probably wouldn't put him as my number 1 second baseman. He's close. He might be the number 1 for me. I'd have to double check that.
I think I had Sajisi number 1 and him too.
I think I had Goose as well.
You did? Okay.
I think I do.
Termar, where are you, buddy?
With that, Ryan, you being a Pirates fan and all, are you?
I have Termar Johnson as my number 1, actually.
Yeah. Are you concerned at all that they have so many infielders in the Pirates organization? No,
it's a non-factor.
Non-factor. Okay.
No, all those guys in the organization are just they're guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Ji-Hwan Bae might turn into a decent second baseman, but they shipped off Rodolfo Castro. He's gone, and then there's really no one else.
So I was thinking of Nick Gonzalez and O'Neill, and then O'Neill Cruz, and
O'Neill might. I mean, yeah. I still think he's a shortstop long term.
Okay.
I think he can still play even with his ankle.
Yeah.
And when he didn't look out of place at shortstop. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz has certainly shown that you can play shortstop and being 6'7". It's not out of this. And Corey Seager's 6'6" or 6'7" too. So I mean, he's athletic enough to stay there, but his long-term role might be in the corner outfield, which is whatever. But no, I don't think all the infield prospects. Nick Gonzalez is not what we thought. Yeah. I mean, he's
really liked him too.
Yeah, I was a big fan.
I really liked him coming.
He was a polished bat that you thought he'll spend a year and a half in the minors and be up and hit 280 with a couple dozen home runs. But that's just not. He kind of just went off the rails and struck out 35% of the time.
Turns out baseball is hard,
Yeah.
We're in the pros. He can still figure it out. I'm still not off the bandwagon of Nick Gonzalez.
He's had his moments. I think he can be a good player. He can be a good role player.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me about Johnson is I almost wonder if I don't even know if this makes sense, but I wonder if he's too good for the low-level minor pitching.
I think I know what you're trying to say. Like the smart kid in second grade, he was bored, so he was getting D's.
Right, and
yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of like Roman Anthony earlier this year when he was in, I think, just single A, and he was hitting 212 or something. And then they bumped him up to high A, and all of a sudden he just took off like a rocket ship. I don't know. I actually was a Pirates fan.
He had a slow start, and he was on fire. I think that was in the early second half. Like he was consistently on the top of our hot
Oh yeah,
list
sure.
for a while. So, I don't know. Maybe something just finally clicked too. I don't really
Right.
know what it is, but like I think he's earned his spot right now. That's
Well,
what I
and
think.
this is his first real taste of having to adjust, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody deals with it differently.
That's
No,
true.
I really like what Ryan's trying to say in that point is maybe Termar is expecting a 96 mile an hour fastball and it's only coming in at 94. And he's just not quite barreling it, and he wants that uptick in velocity. I get what Ryan's kind of trying to get at. Is he's a
I
better
get that,
ball
but he's
player.
never seen those. He's never seen.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
That would
I
be suggesting he already knew something that was better than that, and I don't see that.
like the thought of it.
He's still got to go to the major leagues. He's going to be facing the real pitchers eventually.
Yeah, and that 2 mile an hour, it's gone.
He's got to learn. He's got a little bit more learning to do. But I'm rooting for TJ. Let's go. Not Tommy John, Termar Johnson.
Obviously, this is go get him, right?
I mean, it's all about price again.
Yeah.
We're looking at a value perspective. The 4th overall pick in the draft, and now he's living up to the billing. The numbers are low enough that you might be able to buy low.
Possible.
So yeah, I would say from that perspective, yes. But like, I doubt there's a lot of owners that are going to be selling him for cheap.
Yeah, it'd be a hard sell.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
Well, with that, guys, that is scoutthestatline.com's top 10 second baseman. Ryan, I really appreciate you coming on. Ross, thank you as always. Myself, I hope everybody knows me by now. If not, I'm Brian as always. There it is, fellas. Have a good one.
See you guys.
See ya.